Hello and welcome to the Two Robbies Podcast, your destination for in-depth discussion and analysis of the Premier League. I'm Robbie Mustoe, he's Robbie Earle, and here are today's topics. It's no slot on the sidelines, but no problem for Liverpool as they sweep aside Newcastle 2-0 on the back of another fantastic Mo Salah performance. Mikel Arteta cuts a frustrated figure after a disappointing 0-0 draw at Nottingham Forest leaving a mountain for Arsenal to climb in the title race. And Erling Haaland gets back on the field following injury and back in the goals for Manchester City, providing the only goal in a 1-0 win at Tottenham Hotspur. That and more coming up in today's episode.
Okay, my friend, let's start at the champions-elect. The champions-elect. I'm going to start with that one. Anfield. Liverpool at home to Newcastle. Arsenal kicking off earlier in the day at Nottingham Forest, but Liverpool is about their concentration, their focus on getting their job done. I think it was 20 goals unbeaten in the Premier League. Got a good record against Newcastle United. A Newcastle team that didn't have Alexander Isak. He was a late admission with a bit of a groin injury. We're hearing that shouldn't keep him out for too long, but obviously disappointing for Eddie Howe and Newcastle. But Liverpool, in true slot style, got the job done almost pretty much as you would expect, Rob.
Yeah. I mean, they switched the team a little bit, so Curtis Jones went out the side, Jota came in, back to the 4-3-3 that they've tried and tested throughout the season. And I just thought it was a thorough, hard-working, with quality performance. And I think, it looks like the players are excited about what's happening. The energy they put into it, Rob. There's bits of everything in there. There's bits of Jurgen Klopp, the counter-pressing, which he was famous for. When the team go forward, they give the ball away. They're so quick, very evident today. That happened many, many times, all through the game, by the way. And you've still got the quality of Trent to Mo Salah, the midfield now with 2 goals coming from midfield players, and McAllister and Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai, who's going from strength to strength. A back four, Rob, that... I mean, I took a close look in the last 15, 20 minutes. They've got such good players ahead of them, protecting them so well. They don't really get stretched around or asked many questions because it happens before that.
Hasn't always been the case with Rob this season. There's been a few games where we've seen and we wondered whether, is the structure right? Is it thing? But as you say, they seem to have kind of worked that out as the season's gone along. Yeah,
and the front players work so hard. And Slott's always said it, Rob. He's always said it from the first interview. I made a note of him because I think it's so important, and it seems silly, it seems simple, in terms of having a work ethic in the team and everybody working their socks off and carrying nobody, and everybody's got team defending, team attacking, and I think we've got a good example of that today in the way that they played. Thorough. I mean, Newcastle are good. They're a good team, and they stayed in the game for quite a long period. But Liverpool's, it's almost like they got a grip on it, Rob, and they ain't letting it go. A lot of them. Probably more than half, isn't it, of the team won it before a few years ago. And there's some great leadership. Arne Slot up in the stand. Must have been looking at it thinking, I've got this team in a good place.
Although, it's really interesting, so you say that, Rob. So I was thinking, he did the interview after the game. He obviously was upstairs. Talked about, it says all the things that you'd want to hear in terms of the effort, the structure, the working hard, he names players who were doing extra bits. Does he get home, sit in his big armchair, Rob, and go, ooh?
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
I
wow,
think he does.
Wow. Like,
what is going
this
on?
Premier League, they told me it was. Does he have a big gulp of red and go, wow?
Yeah, I think so. On the back of following Jurgen Klopp and all that, and how that was...
No one expected this, Rob. I don't care what pundit
you can rewind, you can get the shows out, mate. I'm sure... we probably said they're a good team, they're a good squad. I remember some parts last season saying, I think we had a conversation like, what is Klopp doing leaving this? There's a good young team. But we said things like, we don't know how it's going to react from Klopp. We don't know how Anfield's going to feel like without Klopp there, a new guy coming in that's a little bit more lower key in the way that he delivers himself in press conferences. But from day one, those first few weeks where they won games, and then, it starts there, Rob, doesn't it? And I think, over the course of the season, he's never really had much of maybe the last part won't be great, but there's been the odd little blip, but not much. We've never seen him under pressure or stressed or started to get questioned about anything he's ever done.
To that point, though, Rob, do you think he's a guy... I get the sense, again, just my personal, that sometimes some discussions and conversations and things are going on behind closed. I cannot imagine that 3-star players who are all in his way, it's all been as hunky-dory as we see. I think there might have been maybe stronger conversations privately. There might have been times he's had to say. Darwin Núñez is an interesting example where he's definitely decided that now he's not going to be so nice. The arm on the shoulder hasn't always worked. You've got to work. He talked about work rate in his team and how he was let down, not admitting the chance.
That's right, yeah.
So I just wonder if there's a little bit of a... I just can't imagine he's that nice a guy all the time. I just don't think in football dressing rooms at that level you can be that nice. We've always said, and to the point is, you've got to have a coach has to have respect and fear somehow, whether it's through intelligence, whether it's through size and physicality, whether it's the voice, whether it's experience. He's got to have a hold on them, Rob, in some way.
And that's the hardest thing for us to know.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Because we see the press conferences before and after games. He's like...
Yeah, he doesn't give you much.
He's the same.
Yeah.
And he does great. And he's brilliant. He's a great communicator. He's honest with his answers. He really does do a good job of giving you a little bit of insight into his tactics, stuff like that. But in and around that training ground, when training, when somebody's messing around in training, or it's sloppy, and in the drills, people are giving the ball away.
What's that slot look like?
Don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
Nothing comes out, does it?
No.
Usually you get a little sense, or somebody said, "Oh, there was a bit of a flare up," and the manager.
But between how he handles that and between the results on the field, players will quickly look up to him.
Correct.
Wow, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
If it goes a little bit shaky, then
so results also and success.
I think so.
Bought into that.
I think so.
A little bit, yeah.
Where do you think, like, we don't want to get too far ahead, like, but it's miracle time for anybody else to catch them. They're going to win the Premier League, aren't they?
It's almost done.
How does it affect into next season, Rob, and looking into the future real quick, just now? And we're in February, but is this a start of something, mate? Is this a start of something?
It could be in the FSG group, and have done a great job of getting the right people in place.
There's money to spend.
They're supposed to have a bit of a war chest. Haven't spent in a couple of windows now. We know one possibly leave with star name at probably 10. The other two, I think, will stay. But there's a bit of integration to do in places. There'll be a bit of strength. I think one or two could leave. I think one or two, he might say, that hasn't quite worked, isn't quite fit. But there's a good group of players there, Rob, already. When you think of the Jones and the Elliots and
good age.
People, good age,
Soboslai, Gravenberg's 22, 23.
Conor Bradley.
McAllister's 25.
Yeah,
there's a lot of, even the front players, Jota and all them, they're not over
there's
sort of the late 20s.
There's a lot of upside, isn't there?
But if Salah goes...
If Salah went, that's game changer.
Yeah.
That's game changer. Because I think I read or heard this week, somebody said all title-winning teams have one special player. So Man City had maybe it was De Bruyne, it was Foden, it was Gundogan, who all, when they played with Aguero.
Haaland or whatever.
Or, maybe back in the Arsenal it was Thierry Henry. United it was maybe a Giggs and Beckham and Rooney.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody, Chelsea had an Eden Hazard and...
Yeah, Drogba and Lampard. Yeah.
Mo's...
Yeah, he's
Liverpool
it.
Special. He's it.
Yeah.
If it goes, you've got to replace it.
With at least one.
Yeah. If not two, maybe two.
Because
you've got to do it in a different way. Nobody's going on that right side of midfield and doing what he's doing. 25 goals, 17 assists.
25
goals,
to
17 assists.
In 28 games.
Yeah. No one's doing that from that position, mate. I don't care.
Yeah. Just on the midfield players, Rob, again, McAllister and Soboslai get the goals, and Gravenberch. Is that his best work?
Yeah,
the manager.
Better, and I'm glad you've gone there because I was going to say we saw an interview at the end of Szoboszlai and McAllister talking to I think it was TNT Sports who were doing the interview and talking about the goals and how important Szoboszlai's back to back. McAllister's got a couple in I think 4 games. And do you know what I was thinking in my head was Ryan Gravenberch. Is a story, is as big a story as Mo Salah. I know what Mo Salah's capacity is. I didn't quite think it was as what we've seen, Rob, could set records.
Of 32.
But he scored a lot of goals and assists a number of times in the season. Right, if you'd have said to me at the start of the season, Ryan Gravenberch was going to be...
a problem position, Rob.
Yeah, and it was going to cost you 100+ million to fill it. And that's Rodri at Man City so that the others can get forward, and that's Declan Rice in his best position, if Arsenal are going to be successful, that key role that he's filled,
maybe close to being the most important part of the team, given what they felt they had there. Endo last year struggled a little bit in certain games.
Because Szoboszlai is much in, and I know you're up on Szoboszlai, and what he's doing at the moment, he's going to the next level. That doesn't happen if you haven't got the right Gravenberch behind you. If you haven't got someone who's athletic enough to get around the pitch and back up and be. I just think, to me, that's been the best bit of business he's done.
Yeah, I mean, it was impressive. And just switching briefly to Newcastle United, Rob, I thought they stayed in the game. Big loss, of course, not of Alexander Isak playing up front. Callum Wilson had a really good chance.
He had a couple of good chances, actually.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he's his first Premier League star, hasn't played since May. League Cup final, Rob, will that be something that Newcastle can come a little differently?
They will.
Try have a different attempt at it?
I don't think that this game really affects it. We've seen this too many times, Rob. We've been doing this stuff for too long now, and cup finals are so different. Anything can happen. Liverpool will be heavily favoured, but in 90 minutes, when you got the Geordies at the Wembley Stadium,
and Isak will be back.
Isak probably be back. They'll be rested up. I'm sure they'll rest up for it.
Correct.
It could be a very different game, but again, Liverpool will be favoured to win it. The first trophy, maybe. League Cup. Then, of course, they've got Champions League now to worry about PSG in the next stage knockout stages for Liverpool. And it was their day. And it's remarkable. And over the next few weeks, Rob, we will reflect more on Liverpool.
Yeah.
But I feel like today we can definitively say
13-point gap.
Yeah, they're going to win the Premier League title.
6 games at home.
And that puts them on 20, Rob, in terms of top flight compared to Man United.
Titles,
the same as Man United, the highest in England. Is there any extra value in that for the fans? I mean, I think so.
$1,000,000% is extra value.
The best team in England over all of history.
It's eaten back into that Sir Alex era when he won 13 and as brilliant as he did. I mean, Liverpool Football Club has gotten back, and I know you mentioned today, and again, you have to be careful about getting too far ahead of ourselves, and we don't know what the future's going to hold. But we could see a 3, 4, 5 year dominant period of Liverpool Football Club now, as we've seen with Man City, as we've seen with Chelsea, as United had in the past.
Difficult though.
Of course, it is difficult.
Given how City are going to bounce back, they're going to spend a trillion for money.
Arsenal are going to come strong again. United
they're out for now for a while.
Have to get better. Chelsea
are going to improve.
Will be competitive. Aston Villa are getting better.
Yeah.
Newcastle have got money. So, taking everything into account.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good things in place for somebody to sustain.
There isn't much more needed at Liverpool to keep it going, and it looks like they're going to win by quite the distance.
Let's go to the City Ground, my friend, where Arsenal really just had to take care of their business and get their head down. And it was a very, very angry Mikel Arteta after the loss to West Ham. It was a Mikel Arteta that was strong in saying his team weren't out of it and they were going to do their best. Again, they had to go with Mikel Merino up top. Waneri one side, Trossard the other. A midfield that saw Jorginho come in for Partey, whether it was just to get on the ball a little bit more. We saw bits of this game and I did a few highlights. There was the odd chances for Arsenal, mainly from set pieces, because Nottingham Forest had a couple of breakaways. Chris Wood had a couple of looks. But it was basically highlighting the lack of forward players that were available to Mikel Arteta has become the difference in this title race.
And I'm waiting for over the next couple of days, Rob.
The pile-in brigade.
Maybe.
Yeah, there'll be a pile-in brigade because that's the nature of current football. There'll be
it's the nature of it. I'm not.
Pile-in.
You lose your whole front line. For a period of time. Yeah. It's going to affect things. And they've tried their very, very best to cling on to Liverpool, and we said it many weeks, they're still there, but it's starting to falter.
Yeah,
and it's not surprising.
Doing it,
you got to win every week to stick up with Liverpool. And when you're nowhere near your strongest team, I just wonder, Rob, if some people out there will say, well, hang on a minute, they didn't buy anybody in January. Whose fault is that? Is that Arteta's? It's 5 years now with only an FA Cup or something.
Oh, that's coming.
Don't all that
kid
stuff's
yourself.
coming, isn't it?
Of course it's coming, because that's the nature of
Have they got anything in that?
Football.
Do those people have anything in that argument?
In the argument, I would say that Arsenal might have been able to assess the window, and we've chatted about it. Was there somebody there, a young kid or somebody who might be part of the development? That is a could or couldn't. Maybe didn't want to spend the money, maybe didn't feel it was the right time. Maybe they'd have got that player and still not gone on to, particularly finish the season out well. I think it's important that Arsenal, for me, don't drop now. They've got to finish second. They deserve to finish second. They were the only challenger when Man City dropped out this year. But yeah, what I sensed with Mikel Arteta today after his press conference, he obviously was a little bit touchy because he probably realises today the hope was gone. But do you know what I got a sense of? I think he's okay with the club. I think the club and the people who are running this business know what a good job he's doing and what a good manager they got. And as long as that's the case, Rob, the other stuff, it doesn't really...
It's going to be noisy
you don't really
for a
like it, but you baff it off and come again.
What do they need?
Well, they need a one or two forward players, whether it's a centre forward, as we know, or wide players. We need goals. We need goals at the top end of the pitch, and we need something else.
So you need something else in the middle of the park.
So in the middle of the park. I'm not sure if you, but I think they need to anchor Declan Rice as a 6. Stop being an 8 and a 10 and play Declan Rice. You're going to be my 6.
Yeah.
You're big. You're physical. You can play.
We got a clever 8 on one side. I know the guy.
And now I get a bit of a goal scorer looking
Morgan
footballer.
Rogers type of.
Yeah, Morgan Rogers. Love that one. Yeah. And now I've got a midfield that I'm pretty.
Yeah.
When I got back up with a few others who can come in there, Chossie and
if they get a striker, find a really.
Yeah.
You're just going to get you 20 plus.
Yeah.
That, and then when you chip in everybody
else's.
else's.
And Martinelli and Waneri's going to come onto a game, and that looks better.
Miles Lewis-Skelly's going to. There's
improve.
a lot of good stuff with this. A lot of these young players
and I think
have come
that's what Mikel knows. I think that's what the club know. There's a lot of good things about Arsenal. We got short because we got bad injury. I mean, the injury thing is incredible. Kai Havertz in Dubai with a hamstring.
I know. I mean, maybe a conversation for another day, but the injuries. It's kind of a big deal now.
Yeah.
In modern day top flight football in England,
clubs have got to start to look at this.
It's a big deal.
Happening?
I mean, I'm not saying Liverpool. That's the only reason they've done it, but their injury record is by far the best at the top.
Let me tell you what happened with the injury record. Why part of the injury record? Remember the first game or second game on the slot, 2 kick games, took off Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah.
And Alexander-Arnold wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And they had a bit of a row. He said, "Sit down," and he sort of said.
Yeah.
And you know what he said when somebody asked him about the question? He said, "It's a long season, and Trent's got it. I want Trent." So he's probably managed minutes better than other people. You saw a similar thing today, didn't he? Get Asendo on late on. He can take off midfield players.
He's done it all season long.
Jones, he
hasn't started players when he had.
A bit like Pep Jota used to, didn't he? Pep had that thing of an hour and that, and then you'd be off for a while. And
I think it's when there's substitutions made where everyone's like, why is he bringing off Luis Garcia? Luis Diaz or Trent or whoever it might be.
Or Mo Salah at times.
But not many times.
No, not too many.
Which is a credit to him, by the way. How fit is he? How fit is Mo Salah?
Yeah.
I mean, he keeps going and he's like amazing.
He's a one-off.
But back to Arsenal, so not a great day.
No.
It's been a frustrating season.
Yeah.
I still like the fight in the manager. I still like I like the 2 young players that we've seen a lot for, Waneri and
there's a lot of good bits, mate. 2 centre-backs.
Good goalkeeper, a very good defence. They've got a lot of good parts of this team. Young wingers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the real Martinelli is, Gabriel Martinelli.
He might have to prove himself to play every week.
Yeah.
But I think there's a player in there, absolutely, no doubt.
We know Bukayo Saka's a star player.
Yeah.
Havertz is a very useful guy to have around as a forward or a midfield player. So they need a couple of players, and then I'm sure they'll go again.
Go closer, yeah.
What else
we were to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham Hotspur got a good home record against Manchester City. So City go there. Erling Haaland's back in the team after not being available weekend. That some people were a little surprised about. He gets back in the team. He scores a goal. I know you did highlights on this. Sort of Spurs went missing a bit at the back and let the most dangerous man in Premier League football.
I was angry looking at the highlight. I was angry. I was really like shaking my head.
Yeah.
Like the goal Haaland scores, and I hope people have seen it or have a little look for it. I mean, he plays the ball wide, Rob, and he just runs into the box. And there's at least 4 white shirts that are in around him, and nobody really And Destiny Udogie, who a player I really like, is a left fullback.
Yeah.
is literally looking at him. He's right in front of him, and he does nothing about it. The ball comes in, he taps it in. It's like that's that defensive frailty.
Yeah,
and this isn't about this isn't about them going gung ho.
No, you've still got to defend, haven't you?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't one of them where you can have a go.
It wasn't that he wasn't there.
Everybody was there.
Yeah, so you've got what I'm saying is you've then got to have a defensive interest to stop that ball going in there.
Yeah.
Udogie didn't.
I know.
So that's a worry.
Well, the manager should be all over the team in the back four.
But
like,
good
that is
defenders should want to stop a ball going in the net.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't.
A left back should want to stop.
No matter what the manager says. He's a danger there. Surely he's a danger. There's nobody else. So that was an example that we know Spurs have been a little bit caught in a counter-attack, but that was not. That was like, my defence are in place. He plays it wide, and he's allowed to score. I mean, it looked like, again, it's impossible for us to see all the details of all the games these 2 or 3 days. But Spurs had some opportunities. You know, they did okay.
Yeah, Odegaard
had a couple. I think he had 2 chances, I think.
Sonny came on. And
Haaland almost got another one. It's kind of deflected off his arm. Again, it looked like it was tough to see. But I feel like Spurs have recovered a little bit, Rob. You know, they've had a little bit of breather. A couple of guys have come back. So I think Ange is he's going to survive a very difficult period. I guess for them now, it's just when you look at the league, they're so far off European spots.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, isn't it? I mean, to get European football unless they win the Europa.
Well, there you go.
Unless they win the Europa.
And then the Champions League.
And he always wins a trophy in his second season.
Yeah, I think they're favourites, by the way.
Favourites
Europa League. Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, other ones. Robbie Earle, Crystal Palace 4.
Yeah.
Aston Villa 1. We did look at this game, and what a good game.
Really good game.
And Palace, like
Oliver Glasner. We like him.
We do like him,
don't we?
We do like him.
I think with the right support and a bit of time and a bit of money, this could be a.
We're going to find Europe.
Yeah. Can we find Europe? Could we find Europe? You know, Europa Conference League. You know how West Ham went in that competition, ended up winning it, and what it meant to that club, and you know, Sellers Park could have them nights, and this team, if it can stay together, keep those good young players and add some to it.
I know they've had to deal with losing.
Yeah, Elise and Ezra's the next one they're talking.
Zaha before that.
Wharton's possibly on. They think Gay's been talked about.
I know.
Somebody made a really good point to me actually at the weekend, Rob. It was Max Lacroix who plays at the back, who's growing, I think, about $20 million. Great bit of business.
Great business.
And they played Fulham, and it was against Joachim Andersen, who was playing for Fulham, and basically Crystal Palace sold Anderson to get Lacroix and said, that is good business.
That's good business, isn't it?
It's good business.
And you look through this team, Rob. I mentioned it on our show. Dean Henderson. Yeah. He's a good goalkeeper. Lacroix, like we talked about. Adam Wharton's a great bit of, you know, people look at him, knew where he came from and didn't go for him. They brought him in. Ismail Assar, a player they've been tracking for a long period of time. Jean-Philippe Mateta. You know, apart from the Ezes and Daniel Munoz, the right wing back, it's full of good recruitment. It's full of good recruitment. And
Will Hughes, a little pick-up, who you never think, and then he's playing regularly in the Premier League.
And the manager's got him really grooved up now a little bit. Again, the same system at Man United, try and play with the Ruben Amorim. It can work, everybody. You know, the system can work. Really good wing backs. And they just caught Villa. I mean, Villa changed their tactics to match him a little bit.
Correct.
And I thought they played pretty well, Villa.
It upset Palace initially. Couldn't get themselves going. And they got the goals. Is it all too much for Villa, Rob? All these games and all these competitions. It's a deepy squad, though, now. They're sort of prepared. I know they picked up a few injuries. I think Mings got injured. He's hurt his knee again, hasn't he? There's talk that actually Rodgers was a doubt. He played. He played, interesting, he didn't play Asensio.
Right.
Or he didn't play Rashford, did he? That's a little bit strange, that is. Yeah, and he said, he was asked about the question after Rashford assisted 2 goals, Asensio scored 2 goals at the weekend against Chelsea, and he said, almost to the words were, they're not quite grooved into how we play yet, and that's going to take some time. Well, they've done pretty well. Yeah, but when the team's exhausted, the team's exhausted, Ramsey and Rodgers and McGinn, I thought he could have done it the other way. I thought he could have started them for an hour and then maybe made chances. But listen, this is I'm a little surprised that they didn't get. You know, I mean, they're paying a lot of money for those 2 players. Yeah. And they must be chomping at the bit. As long as they're tired, those 2. And I do know what you mean, because Villa play a little bit of an unusual way. Yeah, and whether he doesn't quite feel think they're quite ready. Yeah, they were ready for that. But good win for Palace, though. Good points on the board. Chelsea 4, Southampton 0. Not sure if Southampton are ever going to win another game in the Premier League, but it was an important win for Chelsea. A bit like Arteta, there's a few questions being asked about Maresca and that, and I know you were saying that there's been some protests.
The big protest before the game and stuff like that.
I wasn't sure whether it was on pricing or...
Yeah, I think it's the ownership, really.
Ownership, and I'm not quite sure what people want from
well,
that.
I guess they want a load of money spent, but then spend in a way that they're challenging for the title. And it's not easy. There's only one winner. It's hard to...
You've just lost.
They're doing it differently with the young players.
Nicholas Jackson. You've got Cole Palmer, who's not as hot as he was. It was team not playing as fluently. So it was an important win. We both said we like Neto down from that central area where he's drifting in
false
spots.
nine, Pedro Neto.
Yeah.
Better than anybody else has done it since Jackson's been out. They've tried different people in that spot.
Correct.
Neto's busy, lively, he wants to be involved. He's a good player. I feel like Neto, that since he's been at Chelsea, there's more to come from him.
Yeah.
We've seen little flashes and stuff. But he's a better player.
Himself, isn't he?
Well, I don't know whatever it is. I feel like he's a better player than what we've seen. That's more like it. And Nkunku needs the goals as well. He gets his goal in the game as well. So that's good for Chelsea. I think it's a bit of a rough start. Again, impossible to see all the games. But I like Chelsea. Wesley Fofana, I feel about him. He's coming back, Rob.
I'm not convinced by him, by the way.
I think he's an excellent player.
He's still got to prove a bit to me.
All right. But...
yeah, there's lots of good bits, though. Lots of good bits about it.
A lot of good young players.
Yeah, now can he pull it together? Can they stay in? Got to finish 4th or 5th, Rob. You've got to get Champions League football.
Yeah, they have.
Really. I think that's the target.
Yeah, I think they are. I think one of the best 5 teams. I don't know about the 4 yet. I feel like Man City might go on a bit of a run now.
Yeah,
I feel like
put
City, European games. They got proper rest between matches. They're getting the players back. They've got the new players that are getting a bit more used to their surroundings. So I feel like City could go on a run.
Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1. Pedro with a penalty, first of all, for Brighton. Then Kluivert scored a beauty, didn't he? Another beauty coming inside, dipping him on in. I think it's 10 Premier League away goals for him. And then Danny Welbeck, good old Danny Welbeck, mate. You can't beat experienced striker, gets a winner for Brighton. And important game, actually, in Brighton and Bournemouth both
they're
pushing
real close,
for...
aren't they?
Yeah, European
they're close to each
spots.
other, yeah. They're real close in table.
6, 7, 8 now or something.
7th and 8th, yeah. Bournemouth 7th, Brighton 8th. Yeah, so good win for Brighton. Manchester United 3, Ipswich Town 2. God, blimey. I did the highlight on this one. There was a lot going on, particularly in the first half. Gosh, first goal, Patrick Dorgu, Andre Onana.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so... Can we chuck an opinion on who's most to blame there?
On that situation?
Yeah, it
the
looked
goalkeeper.
like...
The goalkeeper, 1,000,000% to blame. Goalkeeper's coming rushing out. We were told as a coach, the goalkeeper, keep your distance from that guy. The closer you get to him, the more likely a mistake.
There's going to be confusion.
Yeah. So unless Onana's coming to clear the ball, to kick the ball, to tell Dorgu, get out the way because I'm going to make a clearance.
Right.
I don't understand why he's rushing out at full pace.
Dorgu, I'm just trying to... I mean, I may be
20
wrong.
Years of
he's
age,
running back, right? He's got a guy all over him.
Correct.
And the way he played that ball, he had no idea that Onana was 2 yards from him.
He thought he was playing it.
He thought he was playing back roughly to the goalkeeper because I'm under pressure here. My head is down. You haven't got all the time in the world to look around and see what's going. So I'm just trying to give him a bit of an out because it looked awful from his point of view. But if Onana thinks he's goal side, he's got control of it. I'll stay here. He rolls it back.
Leaves some space. Or if not, time to kick it out.
Yeah, awful start for them.
Yeah.
And then set pieces got United back in front, Rob. And through an own goal from Morsey, Maguire scores. Yeah. Then you had the own goal, the red card from Patrick Dorgu. A bit of a nightmare for him on the day, obviously.
Yeah.
Nasty challenge.
Was a nasty challenge, On that's kind of a leg breaker on Philogene, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, Maguire scores only
comes
7
up with
minutes
those
after that, just after half time.
Yeah.
And they hold on, so that. Even though kind of a weird way to draw it up, that's still an important win for United.
Very
anything right now,
mate.
because the pressure's starting to mount on the manager.
Yeah, wins are wins, and that's kind of what they need.
Yeah.
Let's go to the G-Tech. I did this one. It was a case of Brentford taking advantage of Everton Beto had 2 or 3 good looks today.
Really good looks.
It was a bit like the Sean Dyche Beto, not the David Moyes Beto, I have to say. He kind of was unlucky maybe with 1 or 2, but should have done better with a couple that he gets played, and in good form, 4 goals in his last 4. But Brentford with Wissa and then Bournemouth, the threat, long ball comes in, they both have a header and Wissa scores.
By the way, love the header from Wissa.
Yeah.
If he should have made more of that. It was like a flipping Superman leap.
It was like an
incredible jump.
Michael Jordan going up for hanging airtime.
I mean, he had to lean. It was an unusual type, but a brilliant jump. Brilliant jump.
Nobody loves a long throw more than the Wimbledon team. So Brentford get 1-0 up, and then Everton come back. Jake O'Brien, somebody we talked about, isn't it? From a full-back position.
Yeah.
Good player, by the way.
Yeah, in player. And it's funny, like, and it's funny, like, the habits you get into. You get into losing habits. You get into, winning habit. Yeah. And Everton now, we're not losing.
One loss in 8 games since David Moyes.
They're just in a little groove where they're getting results.
And players, Rob, let's just think of 2 players. Beto, who, didn't have his best day today, but Beto under Sean Dyche was, at times a hard watch.
Yeah, because the way that it was very, very cautious, wasn't it?
But Jake O'Brien couldn't get in Sean Dyche's team.
And that's
he's
one
big,
of the big
he's
changes.
6'2", 3", physical.
He played Ashley Young at right back. He wanted his experience and whatever. He's been had a brilliant career.
Correct.
But sometimes the younger players, give him a chance, even if he's centre back playing at right back. He's done brilliantly. Now he's got a goal.
Brilliant. Got his goal, and point of peace there at the G-Tech. And then we go back to Wolves 1, Fulham 2.
Just when you think Wolves are going to find a way
out
to distance themselves.
Yeah, there's a 5-point gap, isn't it, at the moment, which gives them a cushion. I mean,
but you fancy yourself at home against Fulham, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
The home
Fulham,
games remain.
Well, they were 1-0 down after a minute. Sessegnon scores. Then Gomez gets them back into the game. And then just a second half again, 2 minutes into the second half, they concede again. Just didn't have enough to get back into the game. But you do get a sense with Pereira, he's going to get things right.
Yeah,
got a bit
but they're still in it. They're still in that little mini league. They're top of it right now.
They are, a couple of wins gets them out of it, a couple of defeats, and all of a sudden it might just give hope to I suppose if you're one of the teams down there, Robbie.
Well, Leicester win tomorrow. We're going to do West Ham Leicester tomorrow.
Or you're Ipswich. Ipswich still aren't playing too badly. Yeah. I mean, didn't defend well today.
They're in touch. Wolves are catchable.
They're still a 1. So that's where we are. Okay, my friends. Listen, we're going to wrap it up for this midweek. There's 1 game to go. West Ham face Leicester in the final midweek match. And then, as it looks like the title shifted towards Liverpool as they beat Newcastle, and Arsenal drew a blank at the City Ground, we take an FA Cup break this weekend. Then we'll be back Sunday, March the 9th, when Manchester United host Arsenal at Old Trafford. That's a big one. Look out for that 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Big NBC. But for now, I'm Earle, he's Mustoe, together with the two Robbies. Thanks for watching and listening. Be safe, stay healthy. It's a good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Lowe, and as we head towards the end of an exciting Premier League season, make sure you like and subscribe on the NBC Sports YouTube channel for more content like this.